to focus on is not knowing how to get your student accepted, right? And many of you are here. So kudos to you that are here that don't really know how to get your student accepted or the admissions process. And it's kind of confusing as a parent because we had the same questions like, where do we start? Do we start with our high school counselor? What do we do? So, what is the admissions process like? And is it the same at all colleges? For those of you that are looking to send your kid to an Ivy or maybe a UC, what are they looking for? Are they looking for the same thing or is it different? Do we have the time to learn and coach our child, right, on how to get in? Do this, not that. More of this, less of that. What about our high school counselor? Most high school counselors are overwhelmed. They are a great resource and sometimes a great place to start, but there's certain conversations they can't actually have with you, especially as it pertains to the financials, the paying for college, but then also they're overwhelmed. Many counselors are just overworked and overwhelmed when it comes to the number of students that they actually have to work with. They can't give each student the personalized guidance and information that they would need to be in the best situation. So just understand that having a counselor is great. They're great people, but you don't want to put too many of your eggs, I would say, in that basket. And does your student know how to be competitive, right? Do they know how to stand out at that particular university? So what one university might be looking for, another may not be. And you just want to make sure your student, your whole process includes strategies and ways to help your student stand out and get them beyond just the initial conversation. So having good grades, having a good GPA, all those things are super important. But when they're competing with another student who also has good grades, right? Who also has good academic stats, what's going to make your student different than that other student? That's what you want to understand. That's what you want to know because at most colleges, especially if they're selective, they're going to attract students that are pretty bright, pretty smart, but you need to make sure your student is standing out over the next. So what is the most costly mistake, right, that families make every single year? Drum roll, it's pretty simple, probably simpler than you think, and it is choosing the wrong college. And I alluded to this a little earlier, as I said, it was a little bit of a spoiler, but not just when it comes to the financial aid side of things, which is also really important. As you see on my screen, choosing the right college would increase your students' chances of getting money and also can increase the amount of money your student may get. But also choosing the wrong college can be costly in other ways, right? We want it to be the right social fit, the right academic fit, the right location. Last thing we want our student to do is come home too soon because they were unhappy where they initially started. And that happens a lot. It happens too often. But choosing the wrong college or changing their majors and things like that can be a very costly mistake. It can cost them more time. It can cost them, just more travel. It can cost money. So choosing the right college, the right list of colleges in the beginning is the best way to mitigate that potential risk. So this is a student that we also had the opportunity to work with a few years ago. And what we did for her is we helped her build a smart list, right? A strategic list. Pretty strategic. When I say strategic, we wanted to add colleges that might compete with each other for the same student. And this is all based on her interests, the family's, I would say, priorities, including budgeting and things like that. And we wanted to make sure we had a combination of schools that met everyone's needs. Then we helped position her in such a way that made her, I would say, desirable to these colleges. And then we wanted to, I would say, appeal and or negotiate once we receive one offer, use that to get more money at another competing school and so on and so forth. But here are some of her results. She initially was offered 25,000 from one college, and then she was offered about I would say about 31,000 from another college. You can see that there from Whittier. So from Cal Lutheran to Whittier, and then I think she eventually, I know for sure, she eventually decided to go to University of Redlands, and now it's about $37,000 that she received. But the idea here is the more options, again, as I mentioned earlier, for my daughter, that your student may have, the better opportunities and fit that they're going to find when it comes to budget and or just social environment. We want your students to have control. We want them to have leverage. And the best way to do that is to have a strategic list. This is going to increase the odds of money, happiness, acceptances, you name it. So couple things that we want students to understand and focus on as they go through the process is when I meet families that have a list already, and which is great to have a good list to start from. But most families that I meet that have a college list is usually colleges that the student is really interested in. Maybe the college has a major that the student may be considering, or it's in a specific location that the student may be considering. But we want colleges on that list that might have the ability to reciprocate that interest. So if it's all one-sided, the student is so happy, so interested, in this particular college, maybe it's brand recognition, maybe that college has been around in the family and you guys have been a fan of that particular school, UNC or Duke, USC or UCLA. But we also want to have colleges where we feel like our student is going to be desirable, right? They're going to stand out based on who they are as an individual, based on some of the things that they do from an extracurricular, aspect. We want to have colleges on our list that we want to, attend, but also that are likely to really want us. So a couple of things to focus on. If you're someone who takes notes, this is a good time to start taking notes. Is legacy and institutional priorities. As I mentioned earlier, institutional priorities are the most important thing to a university. Some years they may be focusing on college students that are less financially dependent. Maybe one year they're focusing on having a Spanish commencement speaker. Maybe one year they're focused on having a tuba player in the band. But every year their priorities could slightly change, and there's going to be certain parameters that are going to be consistent. But you want to make sure you're appealing to the people who are reading those applications, who are making those final decisions, and make sure your student is positioning themselves in such a way where they have a stronger chance. They stand out more. And it's important to know, again, beyond GPA, beyond academic stats, that they're telling the right story. So a lot of students have great stories to tell, and sometimes, often, they choose the wrong story for that particular college. And this is really important for their top choices. Also, when it comes to college fit over prestige, make sure we're not focusing just on brand, right? We're focused on the best fit. That college is a great fit for us, and here are the reasons why. Not just brand recognition. Early engagement with schools, the more value, not the more valuable, the stronger your student is as a student, right? Academically, socially, their accomplishments, the more I would say desirable they are as a student. And coupled with the more selective a university might be, it's super important that your student is engaging with that school as early as possible, that they are demonstrating interest. Now, demonstrating interest means different things at different colleges, and there's different ways to demonstrate interest. For any of you that want to talk one-on-one about that, please reach out to me and we can always schedule the strategy session. But this is very important. The more the university feels that this is where the student wants to be, the more likely they are at not only accepting that student, but working with that student when it comes to the finances and the financials. This is what so many families miss. They don't really start, most families don't demonstrate interest until they get late, late, late in the process. Start there early, even if you are just considering a university and you're not super focused on that university just yet. The more selective that college is, the stronger your student is, equals demonstrated interest, because that college knows that your student has other options because they're strong. And that college also must protect their yield. They must protect the students that they actually accept. They want most of those students to say, yes, I will be attending in the fall. And if they don't feel like your student is that student, they will waitlist your student. They will reject your student. So we want to eliminate that and basically flip the script, right? Make those colleges feel that you are interested, and you might be. And it's going to work, I would say, wonders as you get further into the process with other colleges that might be being considered. So leverage underserved, right, majors and or programs. Build a personal brand. And if you guys have been in multiple webinars, you probably heard that consistently. This is really important today. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, academic stats were pretty much what made you stand out. But now today, it's about your students' personal brand. So with that being said, also their application and the story behind that application, the context, right? Who is that individual? Let's get to know her or him and what makes them unique. What's going to add to our diversity here at this particular campus? So these are the things that most families do not focus on. And I wanted to mention here that you pay a lot of attention to these things and take. And for those of you that have rising seniors, 4 months from now, your student is going to be having probably most of their applications submitted. So if you haven't started or gone down this particular process yet, this is the time to do it. Let's take some action and yes, let's move in that direction because time is precious. So this is a client that we had the opportunity to work with. I mentioned Trent a little earlier. He's the one that sent me the text of his daughter work, on campus, and he had 3 children, stay-at-home wife, and we were successful with all 3 children. And Trent is, small business owner, hard worker, and just really trying to figure out how do we do this, with all of our kids. I mean, I don't want to do just, what we need to do for one and not have enough for the others. How do we do this? And I'm happy to say that Trent's, all 3 of his children are in a great place, a great situation. And I think between all 3 of his children over 4 or 5 years, his daughter's in graduate school, he's probably paid about 15, maybe $20,000 total. So I'm never here to make a promise that you guys are going to have, scot-free, debt-free degrees, but to have 3 kids successfully navigate, the college process when you are upper middle class and you only pay a little bit of money out of pocket is a huge thing. So where his situation, his students, his oldest son, Clyde, attending UC Irvine and now works for Microsoft. Claire, his daughter, is the one that I talked about a little earlier, who went to LMU, is now in graduate school at USC. And then his youngest son, Caleb, is still in school. I believe he's a senior or going to be a senior this year in college, and he goes to Columbia. So very successful process, but student positioning, list building is really where a lot of the magic happens, and what a lot of you guys are here for it. It's an admissions thing, but it definitely has an impact on paying for college without going broke. So I just wanted to share his story a little bit, and then also here's a family that we've had the opportunity. I knew personally, and we didn't work with, but I had the permission to kind of share, their story, and they're close to me, more of a relationship, not so much of a client or a family that we've been able to serve, but they did not work with anyone, and they pretty much rely solely on their private school counselor. And without boring you guys with all the details, these are some of the results that they had. So their student applied to about 9 colleges, and they were only accepted to 2. I knew the family could qualify for financial aid. Dad was a small business owner, so they had a lot of opportunity to qualify for aid, but they're a full pay family, full pay family. No need-based aid, no merit scholarships, and the student is actually going to be going to school across the country, at a school that he was accepted to, and pretty much out of 2 schools, this is where he's going to be attending. Situation could have been a night and day difference, right? Could have been completely different when you don't rely solely on, I would say, your high school counselor or just your own intuition. So I encourage a lot of you here to seek advice, whether that be with us or any other group, but just get some personalized guidance, because you hate to be in a situation that's less desirous. You hate to sit next to somebody on a plane, come to find out you pay 10 times more than they did for the same seat. You just don't want to do that, right? So now every situation is going to be fairly different, and here is just kind of a little bit of some research we've done over the years, just to kind of share the difference between working with someone versus doing things on your own. For the average family, they need to spend over 200 hours learning the admissions, the scholarship, the financial aid, all that stuff that we just talked about. Whereas they, may have to invest about 50 hours, I would say combined between the parent and the student, working with someone who actually knows what they're doing and has some experience in this particular process. Personalized support, right? Organize timelines, lower your stress level, and versus high stress level when you're trying to carry the load and do everything yourself, especially if you have multiple kids. So just putting this out there that it is important, and I would say it pays dividends in more than one way when you work with someone for personalized guidance or support versus trying to carry the load completely on your own. And I know many of you are capable of doing it, but is it worth it in the end? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. So again, if you got to leave early, there's that information right there. Scan it, write it down, and I'll try to add something to the chat where you can actually check it out. But moving on to the next challenge.